Dissonance. Thank you for joining me here today. If you've been following the streams at all over on Twitch, you might notice that this training footage is from a few weeks ago. The garage looks significantly different now. And one of the reasons that I'm using this training footage is because I've been sitting on the fully edited video for a few weeks and have just been waiting for the right time or waiting for the opportunity, I suppose, to get a commentary done for it. And I also think that this particular workout serves as a great example of the topic that I want to get into today, or at least the way that I come into this session sometimes, or some of these sessions. This is my squat bench squat training session. It's probably the toughest one in any individual week, where I'm just challenged in a different way. It's a lot easier for me to squat than bench and even deadlift than it is for me to squat and then bench and then have to get back under the bar and squat again. So there's a particular kind of mental state that occurs every time I come back to the second round of squatting, where I have to ask myself the question, why am I doing this? Why would I want to do this? And my internal state, my present current self in that moment, wants nothing more than to just skip it, or even to combine the squats all into one block and not do the benching in between and then have to warm back up and go back into it. And I think that it's really important that I don't do that, because I'm trying to stick to the plan, but not just for the sake of the plan. The plan is, there's intention behind it, but ultimately some of these factors end up being semi-arbitrary, but what the plan represents is the important thing to me. The idea that we are putting off your current comfort zone, pushing back your current feeling of this is what I would like to do in this moment, and instead making a commitment-based choice on this is the thing that I'm going to do. I'm going to endure some discomfort in this moment. I'm going to go against what I am feeling like doing in service to the decision that I think that is going to put me in a better spot down the road and in the future. Because sometimes our actions don't reflect our goals. And you see this all the time when someone, myself included, when I say, well, my number one priority right now is fixing my sleep schedule. If that were honestly the truth, then I probably would just fix the sleep schedule. We have this uncanny ability to justify or rationalize our lack of action towards our idealized selves in service to kind of these inner states, or these current moments, just desires or temptations of convenience. It is so much more common and more natural for us to avoid discomfort than it is to pursue growth or pursue happiness or pursue discomfort that leads to the ultimate goal. And I think this can kind of spread out even further from just that. I have had in the past a bad habit of admitting faults and weakness without actually doing anything about it. So saying something like, why is my bench bad? Well, it's because I have a bad shoulder. Well, am I doing anything about that, or am I just classifying why it's okay and acceptable for it to not be developing, and using that as a way to protect myself from personal criticism or external criticism in that? Is that a fallback and a default? Even if it's true, is that constructive and helpful? Or every time that I'm coming back to the YouTube thing of saying I want to be making videos this frequently, but then it ends up not happening, and I have to ask myself the question, am I really too busy, or is it just not high enough on the priority list that I'm not making that choice? I'm defaulting to what I'd rather do. I'm too tired, or I'd rather do this, or I'd rather work on this other thing. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but recognizing those doesn't solve the problem on its own. you have to recognize when there's that dissonance between your idealized goals and what you would tell yourself or tell others are your priorities, and then what your actual actions are indicating are your priorities. So I think, how do we do this? How do we resolve this? How do we work through this particular kind of struggle? And I think that changing the way you look at it can be very helpful. I think about it or I'm trying to think about it in terms of using this revelation, using this understanding or this recognizing of this pattern as an opportunity to empower yourself to change, to run into the potential perceived discomfort of doing this thing that you realize you probably should do, but you don't really feel like doing it right now, and taking that as an opportunity to get excited at, here's my chance to overcome something. Here's my chance to push for a little victory today. And if I get through it and I accomplish that thing, if I do the thing right now and just get to the end of it, I will feel so much better than had I just ignored it and kind of listened to that sort of primitive or in the moment or I'm gonna forget the word, instant gratification feeling. That instant gratification of this is what I'd rather be doing right now versus the feeling of real gratification, of intentional decision-based outcome gratification, where I worked through something and I achieved a little bit of a goal. That is going to be more powerful, and that's going to give you more energy to make those decisions more often instead of just falling back and relying on, I'll do it when I feel like doing it. Because so often in our lives, we don't want to do the things that we claim to want to do. We're not motivated, we're not excited about doing the work that comes with the thing. We want the prize at the end of the game, but we want to find a shorter way there. And so much more often than not, it really just comes down to making the choice to start acting now instead of putting it off and waiting for the right time, because the right time is not going to come. You just have to make the choice to act. So that's something that's been on my mind. I'm trying to implement it, and if you're listening to this video right now, it means that I have succeeded at least in one thing today. And I'm going to try to continue that momentum and roll this little victory into the next, and into the next, and into the next, and use it to continue working towards the goals that I have. And I encourage all of you to find those parts of your own lives and to do the same. I believe you can do it. You just need to believe you can do it. Get out there and act. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I'll talk to you all very soon.